Hello and welcome to today's Lumion webinar. My name is Dan Osler. I'm one of the Lumion UK sales managers, and I'll be introducing you to Lumion and giving you a brief demo of the software. So what we'll be covering today is what Lumion is and why architects and designers use it, your CAD model to Lumion workflow, the live demonstration, and then Q&A at the end. So first of all, what is Lumion? It's a Windows-based standalone visualization solution. It's a powerful 3D environment, and it's a great way to create beautiful images, videos, and walkthroughs. These files can be rendered out, or they can be loaded straight into the cloud to share with your clients. Scene creation can be done in a matter of minutes, because you can synchronize your model straight into the software from a select number of CAD products. You also have a large content library and a large material library, so it's everything you need all in one place. And with the live sync, which allows you to pop the model straight into Lumion, amendments to that model can be made on the fly, and adjustments made can carry straight into the Lumion version. So who's using Lumion? Lumion is suitable for a wide variety of clients. Typically, architects and landscape architects use this software. However, it's widely used around the globe with urban designers, construction professionals, interior designers, and even real estate developers. The developers are actually using this for large-scale developments, and the base for students is also growing extremely quickly. The software is available for free for all valid students as well as educational facilities. Lumion is used by 67 of the top 100 architect companies and used in over 100 countries. You can see on the screen a selection of our UK customers, and there are a number of case studies on our website on lumion.co.uk as well. So next we'll cover why Lumion. Typically, one of the main reasons for bringing it on board is its extremely fast workflow and ease of use, combined with being a real-time software, meaning the changes that you make happen instantly, allowing you to get to your chosen design quickly. The entire interface has been made so intuitive that no real training is required. Just a little bit of time getting used to the controls and you'll be able to create some beautifully rendered images and videos within a matter of hours. To add context to your scene, Lumion has an ever-expanding, high-quality content library. These objects are easily scalable and keep their quality when doing so. Currently within Lumion Pro, the library stands at just under 5,500 items. As well as this large library, Lumion also allows you to create huge scenes with large, complex models. Lumion can handle single-room interiors all the way up to entire cityscapes. Lumion offers extremely varied post-processing effects, so you can load your model in, create sketchy conceptual styles, all the way through to photorealistic with the click of a button. Lumion can work with a select number of model formats. SketchUp has its own native format, and then Autodesk solutions have DWG, FBX or DXF, and 3ds Max can also load straight in as long as you have a copy of 3ds Max installed. If not, OBJ is a very typical format, as well as various solutions such as ArchiCAD and Revit have the ability to export Collada files via the LiveSync tool. With the LiveSync plugin, you can instantly establish a live connection for simultaneous modeling and rendering. LiveSync is currently available for ArchiCAD, Revit, Rhino, SketchUp and Vectorworks, and once this is enabled, you can have your CAD package open on one screen and Lumion on another. If you want to move a window, like you see in the example, or make any adjustments you like, the adjustment will happen instantly within the Lumion environment. It means you can change this all in real time, keeping your model and scene intact. I'll now move on to a short demonstration of Lumion. This is not a deep dive, but more of an overview of the environment. If you'd like a personalised demo, please get in touch after the webinar. So I'll start by showing you where you can import your model. So you'll see on the bottom left of the screen, this green button, you just click to import, and this will take you to your file explorer, and then you can select the relevant CAD model to bring into Lumion. Obviously, as well as you have the live sync enabled, you can do this straight from your CAD product, as I showed you in the presentation earlier. So you can see I've already got a house model loaded in here already. So what I will do is start making some changes to the materials. So if you click the paint bucket, this will open up the material editor. And then we can just move over to the house. As you can see, everything that is named PDM_brick_05N is automatically grouped together as one single material. So you click on that, and that will open up the material properties. So as there is a Lumion material in here already, I can just go back to the material library here. And this will open up the various options that I have of available materials in the software. So what I'll do is just cycle through and just choose a new type of brick material, and then back into the properties so I can start making some adjustments. So by default, Lumion will create a bump map for you, so you can adjust this here, whether you want this to be a normal or inverted map. Everything that you can see here is all adjusted by sliders, and it will all happen right in front of you, so you can start adjusting the colorization. If you bring that to 0.5, you then keep all the detail within the material, but then you start manipulating the color as well. And then if you start sliding this all the way up, it will then just override that with the single color. And if you do have colorization on, or moved up from the bottom, you can have a RGB code copied onto your clipboard. You can paste that into here, and then that will replicate the exact color that you've picked already. And as long as you have that at 0.5 or above, you'll get the exact color that you need. So we can start just by adjusting a few of the settings here. So the gloss and reflectivity, pretty self-explanatory. The relief is, in essence, the depth of that texture. And the scale you can set to default, and that will do the native scale to the model, or then you can start adjusting that manually, like so. So the extended settings are normally open by default, so you can close these down if you don't really want to use them, but they're very, very useful. So if the material scale is anything above 0, 0, you can then start playing with the offset, so adjusting the X, Y, Z positions. Then next, the heading, pitch, and the bank. So it's typically just the rotation of how this is shown. You can affect the waxiness, which is how matte, in essence, you want that material to be, and the same for how transparent. So obviously very useful for adjusting any kind of fabric or material, such as curtains. Next, under the settings, this is where you can play a little bit about with the color and the flicker, as well as the emissiveness if you did want to make your material glow. Next, we have the weathering. So there are 9 presets here. So if we set that and keep that on stone, you then just adjust the slider up, and then you'll start adding a bit of dirt and grime and weathering onto that material, all the way up until you get dirty, mossy parts throughout. And then underneath here, this is a pro feature where you can start adjusting the roundness of that edge. So obviously it's a nice kind of sharp edge here, which is what you would expect for a brick surface. But if you do want to soften that slightly, you can do so. And then lastly on here, again, one of the other pro features is the ability to add foliage as a material or to a pre-existing material. So you just start adding the spread up, and then you add the 3D foliage on there as well. And then you can adjust as you can with the material, the leaf size and the leaf type, and then how spread and how offset you want that to be and where you want it to start from. So for now, we'll take that off of there. Now I'm happy with that material. So as there are 2 versions of brick onto this house, I click onto the menu and then copy, select the second area of brick, and then menu, paste. So as well as being able to copy and paste, you can go back up to that menu and save that as a individual material, and then you can load that in a separate date for a future project. Or you can go back into the material library, go to favorites, the new page, and then you can click add current material as a favorite. So what that means, so for example, if we go back and change colorization here so you can see a difference, go back into the library and to your favorites, and then that loads that material straight back in with all of the settings stored there from previously. So obviously we've already got materials assigned throughout the scene here, so I won't delve into that too deeply. So next, after you've adjusted and made all the materials how you want them to be, you would look to add objects into your scene. So back to where you did the standard import for your main model, you can then view the 8 sections of the libraries here. So go through nature, transport, people and animals, outdoor, indoor, effects, sound, and lights and utilities. So as you can see here that are popping up on the screen, the import section have the nodes to just dictate where all of the objects are. And this will be the same if you click into nature. That will only show you the nodes and the objects that you can select within this category. Or you can do select all categories, and then you'll be able to select anything in the scene. So if we move around to the garden, and then go to the outdoor section, and then place. This is where I'm going to add some garden furniture into the scene. So as I say, if you go over to the furniture setting or furniture section, and then garden table. So I can place an individual object with this. So if I just place that there, that is done. If you did want to mass place objects, you can do so. So you just select that. You then just choose a start and end point. And then you can just select the number of objects that you'd like to include. You can set a uniform direction. You can randomize that as well. You can adjust the spacing along the line and make that as random as you please. And then the same for the offset as well. Then lastly, with placement, which is a new addition to Lumion 9, is the cluster placement. So it will show you just the singular object that is on the end of your mouse. But if you press the Shift key, you can then change between the variations of these clusters, as you can see highlighted with the yellow cubes. So back to the table. Obviously, I've placed that already, so I want to go and add some chairs. So back to place, and then I can just select a chosen chair. Back to singular placement. And now we want to go and adjust their position. So if you go to select, you can then hold control down and select all of the items individually, or you can do create a group from this as well. So you have the options here to move free roam, or just up and down, just horizontally, or you can type in a specific coordinate. Next, you have rotation. You do also have shortcut keys for these as well. So you can select M for select, or R for rotation, or L for scale. So a few ways you can go about this. So you can click on the node, then just manually adjust that with your mouse, or you can adjust using the slider here. And you can make finer adjustments if you hold down the Shift key, and then you can do smaller increments, as you can see at the bottom of the screen. So I'll go and turn these roughly to where I need them to be. It will snap by default to each 90 degrees, so that can make life a little bit easier for you. And then if I decide actually I want to choose some different chairs, so if I select all of those, on the top right of the screen you see the additional or advanced options. So here you'll come to replace selection. This will then reopen up the library for you, and then you can cycle through a different selection of chairs, meaning you don't have to go and manually do this for each individual object. So I'm happy with those, so I'll click OK. And then that is done, and that is as easy as it is to place objects within the Lumion scene. And I did mention obviously about the scalability of the objects in the content library. So if we go over to the tree here, into the nature library, select that tree. So there's a few ways of doing this. So again, you can just adjust the slider to get the tree to the size that you want, or you can just hold the node and again manually drag that as well. And the advanced options for items in the landscape area, you can adjust how transparent you'd like that to be, because obviously trees may get in the way of a particular shot. And you can adjust the hue, saturation and the green color range for that as well, not necessarily for this item, but especially for the evergreens if you are looking to do a more autumnal scene. So that's the basics of importing objects into Lumion. So it just comes down to the time that you put into this to get the desired look that you want to achieve. So once you've done that, obviously you've got all the objects, you've got all of the materials in the scene. You then want to start adjusting the weather. So you can do this straight out of the build mode if you want to just keep working in a particular time of day. Again, simple slider system, so you can adjust the height of the sun, the orientation, the density of the clouds, and then how dark or bright you want the sun to be. I will go a little bit more in depth in the render settings as well, because this is where you can control a lot of the weather on top of build mode. But if I just slightly go into the landscape, so if you want to start adjusting any of the scene, you can do that with a simple brush system. So you can see initially that the Lumion environment is endless, so that does allow you to work on extremely large data sets. So you can work single individual models as we have here, or entire cityscapes if that is the type of work that you do. So quickly zoom out of the model just to show you how easy it is to manipulate the landscape. So you get a round brush and you just change how big that brush is and how fast you want it to work. So if we select the height here and then raise, you can see how quick and easy it is to start manipulating that landscape. You can then have the option to then lower. So if you want to create kind of ponds or lakes or oceans, you can then flatten, jitter or smooth that out. You can then add water into this as well. So if we place a plane of water here, so this means you don't necessarily have to model any of the water that you have if you do have any in your scenes. So if we go ahead and remove that one, I'll zoom into the grass. You can do this, zoom into any particular point just by double right clicking. So as you can see, the 3D grass is already on. So I'll just turn that off just so you can see. It's the same if you want to turn the entire world into an ocean. And you can see that goes across the entire scene and it doesn't affect the software at all. It doesn't get sluggish in any way, shape or form, especially with all of the data that is included within the ocean itself. So on top of being able to manipulate the landscape, you can actually paint it. So you get 4 preset brushes here, but you can choose from this selection of landscape textures. Plus you can load in any of your own custom ones via the custom section on the left. So again, we'll just shrink that size down, hold the button down, and then you can start painting your environment. So it's a great little tool if you don't want to necessarily have any of the increase any of the time you spend on the modeling. You can just start adding a few basic effects into the landscape. And then lastly in here we see OpenStreetMap. This is again a simple contextual tool similar to Google Street Maps, where you load in a plain block model of a particular area of the map, and this does cover the entire globe as well. And you have the ability here to turn objects in there on and off, so such as waterways and pathways, or the landscape itself, and then you get the 3D contextual blocks that you can adjust the size of those as well, just to add a little bit of something into the scene. And again, it covers the entire globe, so you can pop a relative section into where you're working, and on top of that it saves a lot of effort in having to then manually place models or create the models yourself if you do want that in your scene. So that's build mode covered again extremely quickly. So we'll go into the rendering options now. So the bottom right of the screen is where you can choose between build mode, photo mode, or movie mode. So we click on the camera, we'll go into photos. So again, you can still orbit around as you are used to. And you can see there are some shots I've already created here, but I'll show you. So once you've moved around, if we go to the garden actually. So you have some options here within the camera mode to set the eye line to be horizontal and then set to a default eye level. So for that within Lumion is 1.6 meters, and then you can start adjusting the focal length there as well. But we keep that as 15 millimeters, so it works quite nicely. And then all you do is you choose a camera shot, so you get 1 of 10 within each set of photos. So you just go snapshot, and that is the camera stored. So next, you will then want to start adding some effects to this. So Lumion has helped you out by adding some custom styles in here already. So you can choose from realistic, interior, dawn, daytime and night, and overcast, sketchy and watercolor. So just click on sketch and that will preload all of the effects within that stack. So in essence, you don't have to do anything else. You can quite simply click render. So if we go and take another shot, you'll then choose the realistic style, and then we can go back in and start adding a few additional effects. So as you can see, there's the options for light and shadow, camera adjustments, scene and animation, weather and climate, sketch effects, colors, and various. So if we go into weather, choose the real skies, which is one of the additions again to Lumion 9. We then select which type of sky that we want to use. So within these real skies, all of the data is held in here for you, so you don't have to really do much with that sky once you've chosen it. So you can start adjusting the heading. So this is obviously quite a dramatic sky. Maybe let's choose something a little bit brighter. There we go, and then we can flip that as well if we prefer. I think I'll stick with that one. Then let's go back into the effects and add an additional one, so we'll just do the weather for this. So in Lumion Pro you get the precipitation, so you can adjust this between rain or snow. So if we remove particles and reduce that size down, you can see how the water is added onto that entire scene. So it'll make it like it started to dry up as the sun's come back out again. So this is where the time is really spent within Lumion. So you're going through and play with all of the various effects to get that desired look. And once you've done that, you can, as you did with the materials, just go to the menu and then you can do File and Save, and you can save that material stack out and again load that in a future project. And again, you can copy and paste and then you can use that uniformly between all of the shots that you want to create. So if I just go and select the reflection planes that I want within this scene, so you want to do this typically with anything that's glass, anything that is reflective, and anything that is water. So you just click the plus button and then select the surface that you want to be additionally reflective, and just take in as much detail from the environment as possible. And as we put water on the floor, I'll put some on the deck as well. And then you can see between the high and the low preview qualities, you can get a better feel of how the final render will come out. So what I'll do now is go through to the actual render process. So once you're happy with the scene that you created, you just go through to the green button and click Render Photos. You can do the current shot or the entire photo set of up to 10 in one go. So we'll choose the desktop 920 by 1080. Now, as you can see, it gives you a rough time frame of what that, how long that render will take to produce. So in this case, we're looking at about sort of 10 to 15 seconds. And that's pretty typical of a Lumion render. Obviously, if there are larger scenes, more complex materials in there, then obviously it may take a little bit longer. But in essence, this is the speed that you can expect from the software. So there we are, the render's complete. So go to Open Folder, and then there is your completed render, all done and dusted in about 30 seconds or so that it was saying. So next we will touch on the animation section. So what I'll do is copy the effects here because I quite like them. So go into the movie mode on the bottom right. So you can create multiple clips to combine into a single movie, or you can just do a single clip of any length that you please. So if we do a new clip, so you do a record, or you can add an image or a movie file. So this is great if you want to combine an animation within Lumion, a site photo or a rendered image, and again a site video recording, especially if you've got some really useful drone footage as well. So we'll do record. So like creating a shot for the camera, we'll choose where we want to be. So if I zoom into the house here and take a photo, then we zoom out and take another. So you can do multiple photos, but just for this, I'll just show you a start and end point. And then all you do on the left-hand side is set the duration of that clip. So if we set that to 10 seconds, and then done. So what I'll do for this clip, I will paste the settings from the rendered image that I created, and then play. And that is how easy it is to create an animation within Lumion. Just to recap, Lumion is an extremely intuitive, easy to use solution that allows you to do it yourself. You don't have to outsource anymore. It allows any visualizer, designer or architect to quickly produce beautiful images and videos from complete scratch. You don't have to go back and forth with the external source. You can make unlimited adjustments at no additional cost to you. It's a great value add for any kind of project that you do, as well as adding to your own showcase. You can accomplish more by having the ability to make on-the-spot changes to images and videos and give clients the extra wow factor. You can try Lumion for yourself. Typically, the Pro trial is what most professionals go for, purely because it's the full version with the full content library of about 5,500 items and 1,700 materials. Alternatively, we can run a bespoke demonstration for you, which typically lasts about an hour. We can use one of your existing project files if you have that available as well. If you're interested in this, please get in touch. My email is on the screen if you'd like to get one arranged. So thank you all for attending today's webinar, and I look forward to hopefully hearing from you soon.